about 6:30, so I'll call the meeting to order here. Any agenda additions or deletions? So, approval of the select board minutes for 11/6.
I'll make the motion.
I second.
Any discussion, corrections? We're hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Pay orders for 11/21.
I'll make a motion to review the pay orders totaling $61,102.45.
Second.
Any questions? Concerns?
For the iPad storage, is that just because we're iCloud backup, or?
On the iPad.
Yeah. It should, because it should be free unless you're, because there's no way there's a lot of data on that.
This is a lot of photos and video of the flood damage.
Yeah, the iPad got full, so she had to go in and
Gotcha.
dump it onto the cloud.
Oh, okay, cool.
You know, and it's gotta be
They won't,
saved.
and they won't let us
Right.
do like
iPad's
a,
not a place to save it.
No.
and they won't let us do like a year. So it's gonna be 99 cents a month for,
That's how they do
Okay.
it. I have the same charge from Apple monthly.
Any other comments? All those in favor of approving pay orders for $61,102.46?
45 cents.
45 cents, yep, you're right.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Open the glasses, I guess. So we have no Phil tonight, he's under the weather.
Okay.
Sandy did talk to him again today about the town road crew doing their flood repairs at the garage. Steve had said they don't have time, and Phil keeps saying they do. So Phil's gonna get with Steve, and the two of them are gonna work that out.
Okay.
Okay. Yes.
Other than that, I guess that's it for the road crew. Honorable mentions. We want to thank Justin for helping with computer and website issues at the town hall. Mark for trying to update the flashing radar sign on School Street required by V-Trans. And
So our update has shut it off.
Oh,
I couldn't
boy.
talk to it.
It just would not transmit with your computer.
When I tried to,
Wow.
I got a big HP, I tried to Bluetooth into it, I couldn't Bluetooth into it.
Wow.
I run the cord down, I got the program, I'm looking, I plug it in, I hear beep, nothing. I can't, it doesn't acknowledge it, it won't link, it won't do anything. So Sandy and I were talking, when we order the new ones, we'll put one of the new ones up there, we'll move that one back down onto 140
Okay.
On the other end.
on the other side of the bridge.
Right.
And
Yes.
turn it back on.
Okay.
Let it do its thing over there, because that's not, the state doesn't have any say over there.
Perfect.
Oh, okay. Because that stretch of road is technically town property.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we'll just
That's
put it
a
over there and let
good.
it do its
That's a good
thing.
solution.
Hopefully it turns back on.
Maybe when it's down, we can,
It'll have like a nice hard reset or something that will be.
I unplugged it. I literally pulled the batteries. It's like nothing. I'm like, this is
That's
not rocket.
crazy.
We also want to thank Little Angels Daycare. They did a food drive for our food shelf and brought in several boxes of food and some gift cards, so our thanks to them.
Nice.
Public comments. Eric,
I don't care. I'll go first.
go first.
I'm here out of frustration again. The roadside clearing on East Street that was gonna happen, that has never happened. The town came up, cut a little bit of brush last year, one of the persons did, which helped, but they could only cut 5 or 6 feet up for a little section, which did help last year, but of course it's all grown back this year. I think we've been spot graded once. They came through and filled potholes once. And I've been here for 4 or 5 years trying to figure out how to clear brush and get that cut back. It's my understanding the town now has a debris blower.
Yeah. And a mulching.
We also bought a mulcher that
A mulcher.
the intention is to start cleaning up the roadsides. I know they haven't got out and actually used it yet. Not to make excuses for them, but I think the flood damages and stuff have put them behind for a while.
I get that, but I've been listening to excuses for 4 years. Well, I have, and trust me, I mean, I've been in those chairs, I understand that. However, you know, this is kind of an ongoing problem, and I don't see it being resolved at all. I mean, this is not it's a 1.3 mile road. It is relatively level, except for a couple little hills. This isn't going to require 5-foot ditches with riprap and all that sort of stuff. This requires pulling out probably 6 inches of debris that's built up over the last 15 years, so the water isn't running 2 feet out into the road. It runs at a ditch line, or at least runs off the road.
What's the length of the area? 6 inches for how long a stretch?
I mean, off and on, the whole 1.3 miles.
So,
You could
Off
use
and
it.
on the 1.3, okay.
Right, I mean, a lot of it has 4-foot, 5-foot slope on both sides anyway, but the water can't get there because I've been told the grader can't get out there to pull the stuff in because the brush is overhanging. And then it was kind of like, you know, we're gonna do it in the fall last year because, you know, we can see a lot better when there are no leaves. There are no leaves.
Okay.
And I'm just, I guess I'm here, what do I need to do? You tell me, what do I need to do to get this on a list, to get done? It's just, I beat this horse for a long time.
I think I've seen you every year since I've been on the select board, I
I've
think.
been here, I don't know, 4, 5, 6, I've lost track. So, yeah, and that's, yeah, what do I do? Do I need to get the entire street down here? Do I need to get a petition? How do I get on the list?
Is the mulcher ready to go, or are they still waiting for that
Yeah.
overflow?
They don't have it hooked up yet. They're not, they need to get, well, Charlie told you, right?
The wiring harness,
Yes.
I guess,
They need to get directions how to wire it up.
because nobody,
So they
Charlie
have
told
the-
me nobody can figure
They
out how
have
to
the
wire
harness, they just,
They just,
Don't know how to wire
they
it.
need instructions from Cat to wire it up.
But I mean, like debris, how much,
You,
No.
put a bug in Steve and
You see what
Charlie's
the state
ear.
did
I
up
don't
here
know,
on-
'cause he was
Yeah,
in here the
yeah,
other day,
that's
and he had
what-
a conversation with
that's-
Charlie.
okay,
and
The same thing.
That's
except
how
it's on
I
the
just
exterior.
found this
So
out.
they can
that's the
reach-
mulch,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Charlie told him
And then
what
as far as
the
the
delay
ditching goes,
was.
they did buy a debris blower
Yeah.
to go on the front of the big loader. And that'll clean out, blow it, the leaves and
Clean out
stuff
what's
out of the ditch and
there.
stuff.
Exactly.
After you get the brush out.
After you get the brush.
After the
yeah.
brush is out, yeah.
But that thing, from, like I said, it's the same thing as they had. I think that'll solve that problem. Right. They get it, won't look the
I
best
guess the
for,
question now is
The
when.
question is,
when,
When?
Yeah.
when?
I think we need to talk to Phil and
Yes.
give him a hard date.
Okay? I'll be back next
they
week.
get that thing wired, there isn't any reason why that somebody can't take a day and go, it's a mile, I mean, it theoretically does a mile an hour, so.
6 inches in,
Well, no, but getting rid of the brush,
That
right.
brush
Right.
will
the
do
brush
it.
is gonna be
Right,
pushed
and
up
there's
fast.
a lot of
Right.
And the ditch will
But
have-
still, like you
Half a mile
said,
may have
it's
the brush.
a little over a mile,
Yeah.
probably right around a mile-ish, give or take.
I mean, that'll do 4 feet wide, so
Okay.
we spent a lot of money on it. They better,
And we gotta
better
use it.
They better
Yes.
use it.
It took
Exactly,
forever us to get it here, and then
yes.
Yep,
So we'd like to see
Okay.
the equipment used.
me too. Okay,
Keep on us
thank
here.
you. I will.
We'll
Okay.
follow up with Phil, and if I can run down sometime this week or first and next to see if I can figure out what's going on with the wiring. The internet does amazing things.
There you go. Thank you.
I guess we'll see you next meeting.
Okay, I'm not with you. I'll make the next couple. Try to.
Christmas
you.
cookies, it works better.
What's
I
that?
said if you brought Christmas cookies, it would have worked better.
Isn't that budgeting?
Not
That's budgeting.
Thank you.
I got a real quick
We'll
question
suck
before
that,
you
don't worry.
go.
What's that?
I got a real quick question.
Yes.
With Mount Holly being gone, how's that affecting you guys?
We have, yes, we have adopted that area,
Okay.
much to our hesitation, quite frankly, just because it's, traveling up there is gonna be.
So it is,
But
we are,
it is, yes, the changes have been made. In 911, Wallingford Rescue is listed as the covering agency for East Wallingford. So, yep.
should we keep coverage up there?
Yeah.
Would any of their crew volunteer for Wallingford Rescue?
I tried that. No, the 2 or 3 main people that were involved have pretty much retired.
Okay.
That was a big
All
part
right.
of their.
Do they have anything, as far as equipment wise, that would be useful for you that?
Most of their equipment that I know of, there were a few small items that they offered to us. Most of their equipment has gone over to Ludlow Ambulance. Or I believe it actually, when Mount Holly dissolved, it went to the town, which I
And
believe is turning it over
Okay.
to Ludlow. Yeah, but yes, we are, Wallingford Rescue is officially covering East
Okay.
Wallingford.
I appreciate it, thanks.
Yep, absolutely.
Do you have something you wanted to speak to, or?
No, I think I'm here for the Wallingford Fire District number 2 topic.
Okay.
It's on the agenda. I don't know the official number, but.
Next.
Actually, that's up next.
Wait,
Yeah,
is Dave coming down?
Dave said he'd be here as close to 7 as he could get, so
Understood. I can
probably a
wait for
little
David.
late.
We're running ahead, so
yeah.
we'll just come back to that. Small Business Administration,
They're supposed to be here too, right?
Yep, he's not here either.
Okay.
so we're on to proposed zoning request. So,
She's not here, so she's gonna be here close to 7 as well.
Okay.
She thought she had 2 or 3 people in front of her.
So we'd take a 15-minute coffee break.
Was the Energy Committee gonna come for the statement?
Nope, they just presented.
They just want to present it.
Okay.
so
Take a look at that.
take a look at that. And
We could do that.
Any comments on?
The only one it's interesting is the last one, because I don't think that I've ever thought of that as being part of their duties, which is nice if that's what they're wanting to do, but like how do we, because doing it through forums is kind of tough because not everybody has an issue when a forum comes around or events. So I wonder if, are they also saying like that they want to be able to have some way of like, if a
Yeah.
person in town has an issue, like a question about something, like, can they go to them? Like, I guess that I'm a little confused by that last one.
And have they done this in the past?
Like, have they been basically like a minor consultant or just,
Right.
because it'd be a great
Holding any
resource.
forums or events to educate. Okay.
I'm not aware that they,
I mean, they did, I mean, they had, like Wallingford Day, didn't they have like a?
They had the cars at Bosch's.
Okay.
Yep.
So that counts.
But like, if they do want to have a way of like being a point of contact, as they put, like,
Right.
what does that look
How's
like?
that
I guess?
work? Right.
I think actually all of the bullet points could be put into a different document or whatever, and the first paragraph is really the mission statement.
Because this is more of what they're planning to do, while the first paragraph is what their statement is.
Yeah. Kind of like what the
Yes.
Conservation Committee did.
Yep.
Okay, so having a separate document saying this is the mission statement, this is what, at this point in time, this is what we are working toward, how to fulfill that mission statement.
Yes. Yep.
And it makes it easier to edit
Yes.
or update if they need to versus
Yes.
changing the mission statement every time is gonna be a little bit more of a mishigash.
That's good. Good suggestion.
Is that good? General consensus of everyone?
Yeah,
Can
Okay.
you communicate that to them, Sandy?
I will, yes.
and if they wanna get back to us
Yeah.
about just clarity on that last one, for me
Yeah.
at least. That'd be cool.
Okay.
You're just like looking at recently, like trying to see if like we would get an electric car and then just the craziness of all the different steps you have to do. It would be nice to know that before I started like doing all the research on the cars themselves. Small first world problems.
So let's see, we're on to town garage light fixtures estimates. So Rob Stewens came back with a estimate. Initially, he actually, as it turned out, he wasn't even gonna replace the fixtures. He was just gonna cut the
Lamps?
ballast out of the lamp fixtures and put in LED bulbs.
Okay.
When we started comparing apples to apples, he came back with a price of $3,900 to replace 11 of the fixtures. Jeff Duchesne estimated $4,179 initially to replace 12. But when you figure recalculated to 11 fixtures, his estimate is $3,830. Jeff also recommended not to just replace the bulbs.
Okay.
He said he wouldn't recommend that.
I mean, does it make sense to do all 12 right now or just do the ones that need to get replaced? I mean, either way, it seems like Jeff has the better price. by a skinny margin, but that's still,
Yeah.
yeah. So I guess the big question is whether or not we want to go for 11 or the full 12, right?
Did everyone see that email from, did you send that to everybody?
Of Jeff's?
No, on the fluorescent lights, you can't buy them after the first of the year.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember hearing about that on anything else.
Yeah,
So
so,
the mercury and stuff.
So, I
I
mean,
mean, it makes sense to me to do them all. And there's not a huge, I mean, if you look at the price to just do them all or just do just the lamps, it's not a huge difference.
No,
Right.
no.
We're not gonna be able to,
I mean, there isn't, once you tear them down, take the ballast out, you got more labor than it would be to, just to cut them, disconnect them, and put a new light in.
right.
Right.
Probably more labor intensive to try to not replace them, but to reuse them
Right.
than it is to. I can imagine they're a little on the rusted side.
And then also, they're not made, the LEDs are gonna reflect the light and send the light out in different ways than the fluorescents.
Right.
So even the
Right.
fixtures themselves aren't gonna be as optimal.
Right.
so what's everyone's pleasure?
You want a motion to
If you wanna-
change all 11 fixtures and go with the Duchesne Electric?
Or do we wanna just do the 12?
Well, there's actually 11.
There's actually.
Oh, there's actually
There's
11. Oh,
11.
sorry.
So the option could be
Oh, I
to
can
do
see
all
that.
11 or just do 4 of the broken ones.
Okay.
There was four original broken ones, and one of the two suggested, well, I'll give you a price for all 12. I think Rob did. And he said, he goes, I think there's 12 there.
Yeah.
So then I asked Jeff to give me a price for 12. Well, then Rob actually went down and counted, and there was 11. So
Okay.
the option would be to replace just the 4 or all 11.
Okay.
And because Jeff had already submitted an estimate for 12, but he submitted per hour and per fixture, I just did the math and subtracted 1. So
Okay.
the apples to apples would be 11 fixtures.
Okay.
And we can't buy the bulbs after the first year, I hear you said. So
Right.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, the state has
Yes.
Of course.
made it illegal to,
Yes.
I'll still stay with what I've got, replace all 11 and go with Duchesne Electric.
Second.
favor,
Aye.
Aye.
and I abstain.
And then I guess the building fund part, or where we want the money to come out of?
Oh, yeah.
I would say it comes out of the building fund.
I would
It's an
say
upgrade
that.
to the build, and especially it's an upgrade.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So, town hall use request. The Wallingford block is closing exercise classes for a period of time, so Susan Zeckel, hope I'm saying that right, is interested in holding classes Wednesdays on the second floor of the town hall. She's enclosed to us an email and certificate of information. I have to say, I'm not really in favor of this. We're already doing a dance class through the rec program. My feeling is we ought to see how that works out before we jump into more. If you read the original intention on the building use policy, I mean, it was intended to be, a one-time use, not a weekly program.
Are we worried just about wear and tear, or are we worried about?
Yeah, I have concerns about wear and tear, but I mean, we also need to keep some time free in case the town itself has to hold
For sure.
meetings.
Right, yes.
Um,
I guess the only thing, I think on this is that the Wallingford block, I don't know, Susan's class, I know that, I was doing, the Thursday class with Tiffany, the power workout. The only thing that might be nice about being able to provide something is that I think this is on a limited time basis, and it would keep those people used to going to exercise classes and paying to go to exercise classes in Wallingford, doing something in Wallingford. That's the only thing I would say, because if Susan can't do it here, they're gonna look other places. And down the road, when the block opens up
They won't
again,
back.
exactly.
Right.
That's the only reason why I would think that maybe we want to consider this, because then we keep the business in the town.
So,
But I hear what you're saying.
yeah, my only concern is, I mean, our fee is $25 per day or per use.
Yeah.
And some of these people are making money on our $25, which be hard pressed to cover lights and heat for the winter. You know, for the hour or two that they're up there, so, you know, if this is an ongoing thing. I'm
If
not
we were going to
sure
allow it,
it's-
if we were gonna allow it, I would definitely say charge the fee every week.
Oh, yes, it's, yeah, oh, definitely, but,
The other thing is keys are an issue.
Okay.
right. Can we, look back at putting a lockbox outside and giving the person a code to that lockbox to get the key, unlock the door, put the code back in, put the box back on the wall?
Well, one of those master lock things where you type in the key,
Yes.
Yeah.
And it
code
opens up, you
to
grab the
open
key,
it up, you
open
grab the
door.
key, and then at the end you put the key back in, you just
Right.
close the thing.
Yeah, but sooner or later,
The key is gonna.
you put a code out there and it's gonna, sooner or later, it's gonna be all over the place.
Right.
Everybody and his brother's gonna know it. And
What do you think?
Oh, they're talking about it right now. This
Oh,
is,
yes.
Susan.
Hello. Hi,
Susan.
Susan. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Was I late?
No,
No,
they're
we-
just talking about it right now.
Oh, perfect. Okay, great.
Okay. So do you want to tell us about your proposal here?
Oh, sure. So, I've been teaching dance and group fitness for many, many, many years. I was teaching bar classes and line dancing over at the block right diagonally across the street. And I don't know if you heard the information that Michelle is going to be taking over that space now, so we're all kind of scattered looking for a new place. So I have Jill Stonetier, who takes my line dancing class every week since I started, and just love having her in class, and she loves being there, so she recommended, and Michelle also recommended that I speak to everyone over here, see if using the space upstairs was a possibility. So.
We had a question about wear and tear. What kind of shoes do people wear up there? What kind of?
Oh, sure. So for the line dancing class, it's usually like cowboy boots. And the cowboy boots are very good about sliding on the floor, so it's not like they're rubber at the bottom where it's like really scuffing. So they're purposely, you know, we use that for line dancing so that you're not sticking to the floor. So that makes it a little bit easier on the floor rather than having sneakers that would be digging into the floor.
And for bar, would that be like ballet slippers or?
Yeah, we're usually barefoot, so we would
Barefoot,
probably
yeah.
just have some type of grippy socks on there, so we're not
Right.
slipping, but we're not just completely barefoot on the
Right,
floor there.
right.
Yeah.
Another question?
you have to figure out how to get keys. I
Yeah.
mean, the spare key is being given to a person on Tuesday night already, so You have to get the key back.
I mean, you haven't even decided that yet either. I mean, that's also on here. I mean,
That's a separate issue.
like how to do that as well, if they're gonna have like a local person pick it up. I mean, we haven't given out the front door key to anybody. I mean, you folks don't even have
No.
versus the chair of the select board doesn't have a key.
So the, where do we stand with doing like an electronic lock just for the front door? Leaving the other locks like with the key? Just wondering price wise.
Well, that's what,
We looked
that's
at-
what you're talking about, right?
Well,
The
no,
lock-
I was talking a lockbox
Yeah.
outside.
Oh,
That you punch in the code, open the box, get the key, unlock the door, put the key back.
but that will, all the keys are in there for the fire department, that lockbox, like all
Well,
the keys.
I'm just saying
all
do a
the-
separate lockbox
All the, okay, well, I mean,
with just the door key.
what about one of those things just on the door?
Well, that's where Justin was going, is
Yeah.
an actual electronic lock on the door.
Do you have any idea
Yeah.
what that would cost?
I can look real quick.
And also, Susan.
Because that would allow us to change the code whenever we want to. So if we knew that somebody, the code got out, or we had a new person come in, we could reset them. We can reset them every month.
Oh,
Because like that's how you, when you go to like an Airbnb, you just,
exactly.
it changes every time the tenant comes through, so. Let me see, I don't know in terms of, it might be different just because
I
it's a
think it's just a
bigger,
deadbolt.
yeah.
Susan, do you know length of time, how long you're gonna be,
As far as each individual class or the whole session?
as in, not being able to use the block? Is this like indefinite?
Oh, so, the
It's gonna be a
13th
lot.
is the last Wednesday, 13th of December is the last Wednesday that I know I
Yes.
can use it.
Okay.
So
And
I was
then-
planning on just taking off for those next 2 weeks and then hoping that I might be able to start here in January.
Gotcha. And it would be for the foreseeable future?
For how long?
So, Michelle said that so they have a third floor there that there was originally supposed to be the community center.
Yes.
So she said that if they finish that third floor by the summer of 2025, she would be
Oh my
really
gosh.
happy.
Wow.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
So
quite
this
a-
would
Because
be,
Quite a bit
they're
of
working
time.
on the village store now.
Yes.
And that's theoretically gonna be done by the
2024?
summer.
this
Yeah.
summer, yes.
Yeah, and then, but then that's the thing is that they really can't focus on any other work when they're doing.
Until
the
they finish the store and get the store up and running.
Right.
Okay.
Right, so
Okay.
it's
That's good to
quite a
know.
bit of time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't want this to be forever.
Right.
Yeah. How long are your sessions in terms of like your session times? Like, would it be like 3 months or would it be a month or?
So for the adult classes, I just do ongoing classes. I
Just
don't
ongoing,
have any
okay.
set sessions. I would like to try to start a kids class. And that one I would probably do in smaller blocks because I would probably have families pay upfront for maybe 5 or 6 weeks at a time, depending on working on holidays.
Okay.
And do you offer 2 adult classes a week or is it 1 adult class a week?
So I try to come in and do 3 classes back to back. So I'd
On
ideally
one
like
day?
to do all in one day, correct.
How long are the sessions, each class?
Each class is,
About
well,
an
the
hour.
children's class would be about 55 minutes. and
Okay.
the
Is that
adult
one of
classes
the
are-
3?
I'm sorry.
Is that one of the 3?
Yeah, it
Is
starts
it-
at 4:30.
Okay.
Yeah, that was ideally what I was.
Okay, and then the adult sessions are how long?
An hour each.
They're an hour each.
Yes.
You're proposing to put those on Wednesday nights?
Yes.
Okay.
We do have some stuff scheduled already on Wednesday nights.
So there would be some Wednesdays that would not be available.
Oh, okay.
We have a concert in December, March, and April right now. On like the second Wednesday.
On the 13th?
Yes, December 13th.
And is that the last class that you're doing?
So, yeah, so I wouldn't
So you wouldn't
look to-
need-
You,
Be
that
here
wouldn't
till
even bother you,
January.
yeah.
There we go. So that one wouldn't interfere?
Right.
Okay.
But yeah, I think if I, it seems like you book them out pretty far.
Yes.
As long as I knew up front, I can
Yep.
easily tell my students, and that's really not a problem for me.
But there might be certain situations where we might have to have a special meeting or something like that.
Right.
We would of course let you know, but, and those we have to do 48 hours notice, right, for a special. If we had a
Right.
special emergency meeting, we
Yes.
have to have 48 hours, so that would be, so there might be a situation where we would have to do that.
Exactly.
Okay,
Well,
then-
we would need the space for town business.
Right, okay, that I would be able to know 48 hours out?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Well,
yeah.
everybody, we have to actually warn it 48 hours in advance of it happening.
Yes.
Right, okay, yeah,
At
that's not a
least.
problem. As long as I don't have any students driving here for no reason, then I'm totally fine.
I mean, my only problem is it being an ongoing indefinitely, and as we talked about earlier, it's the plan to rent the upstairs or to utilize it for, people to use was on basically a one-time shot if somebody had a wedding reception or something like that to use. That's what we were talking about earlier. Not as a every day, every week,
Right.
an ongoing thing. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on down here that can't be interrupted during the day until 4:30 at night. So things like that would have to, everything would have to be after 4:30. And I guess my only concern is that we have no end date to when it's gonna end.
Right, if you wanted me to put into sessions, I have no problem doing that. For the adult classes, I just charge per class because everyone's schedule is just so crazy, so I don't have them sign up for a certain period of time. But I could still say, this is going until this date and, what works for.
Do you ever take a session off, like you don't teach for a certain amount of time, or do you teach all year?
Sometimes there might be situations if I go away on vacation, or sometimes if my kids are around for February break, I might take that time off. So there are here.
So
and there
small
times.
breaks,
But a
a
small,
week
like a
or
week or
two.
so.
Okay.
Correct, yeah.
Are the majority of your students Wallingford residents? Or are you?
I believe so. They all come within 5-minute drive, I think. So I believe all of them are. I have a couple, I know there was a couple that was taking my bar class from Mount Holly, but I think most people are Wallingford residents.
I wonder if we think, just because this is a new thing, completely new thing that we
Yes.
haven't done before,
Right.
I wonder if we do it on, I guess the big question is, so this is new for us, would you be amenable if we did it on a 2-month trial? So you'd have the
Yeah.
classes on
Oh, sure.
January, February, and we can see how it goes. If it feels like it's being not tenable and it's not going well, then we can try to give you enough time, of course, to figure it out. But that
Sure,
way
yeah,
we
I
can
think
test this out, because it is something that people have talked about, is having a community space in town. And on all the surveys we've done, that's a big thing. So classes might be one way of doing that, but also I don't want to get us into a situation where
Yeah.
we started off and then you're in a situation where we say, oh, you have this for a year or 6 months, and then
Right.
we find out that it doesn't
It's
work
not
for either of
tenable,
us or
right.
one of us. So I wonder if it just on a trial basis of 2 months of January, that
Or
would
if
be 8
we
sessions.
even want to think of a 3-month trial, and then that last month, we ask for you to come back. We talk about if we found it tenable
Do
or
a little,
not.
yeah, so if we had end of, that might be tricky.
Would that
because
be tricky?
Well, that'd be
It'd
tricky
be
because that'd be
better
right
to
near
do-
town meeting day.
Yeah, so maybe 2 months is better.
2 months and then 2 weeks
Two-
before the
Yeah,
end of,
2 weeks before.
so mid-February coming back
Yes, I think
to,
that, the time frame. I wasn't thinking the time frame.
yeah. How does that sound to you, Bruce? I know you definitely still are apprehensive about it, but
I would really like to see how it works out with the other group first. Just-
Okay, and when is the other group?
Tuesdays,
Tuesdays?
They're
And that
Tuesdays.
starts when?
January also.
That starts in January also.
Just see the key.
Would you find
Sign
out
it, because I don't know who you people are.
Yeah,
commercial grade blocks up from Home Depot are anywhere from 180 to $300.
Is that something an electrician puts in, like Jeff or somebody, or?
No, it's a battery, it's
battery
battery operated,
operated.
goes right into the same deadbolt.
Yeah.
Anybody can put it in.
Yes.
Okay, Mark, when are you available?
I signed in.
Well, that's kind of a,
Yeah?
yeah.
Personally, I think it should be a locksmith that does it.
Me too. I'd love to have somebody else take that liability.
Is that,
I mean, because the big thing is like it was $600 or so to rekey all of the blocks. If we had the one that we know that is going to be used by people that wouldn't normally have to have a key in the, I don't know. That seems like especially if we're moving forward with something like this, it makes sense.
And it would make sense for the Tuesday night class too.
Right. Or even like when my dad does the movie nights
Yep.
or when we do the concerts, we know that those are short times. They're not like Joyce going and doing work upstairs in the Historical Society. You even have ones for fingerprints. For biometrics.
If you want to do something like that, I would suggest we table this for now and get a price on what that's going to cost.
I would agree
I
too.
mean, if we're going to spend $500 or $600 to change the locks on the door, to me, it's,
Right, because then that would say then maybe that's also a policy change of if it's a recurring thing, maybe then it's a flat fee for a certain amount of time. Like if we did this, we
Right.
think about doing this
That's
versus
true.
a $25 one-off when it is just like a backup option or a special thing, and that will help us recoup costs going forward, and then maybe be able to sustain a little bit more in terms of heat and everything else
Right.
that we have.
Well, that's it. I mean, yeah, like
Yeah.
I said, $25 a week for, what, you're gonna be here for 4 hours or so?
About 3,
3
yeah,
hours.
get there 15 minutes before the
Yeah.
first.
I mean, $25 fees between, it's not gonna go a long ways for light and heat for that
Was
3-hour period.
Was there a fee that you paid Michelle for use of the building?
Yes, what was that?
What was the fee that you paid
So
Michelle?
she was much better about than any person I've ever dealt with as far as rental.
Right.
Because usually there was just a flat fee per the class that you did.
Right.
And I don't think she cared if it was an hour and a half. I think some of the
Right.
instructors had an hour and a half class.
Yeah.
But it was just for the class. Other places, they would just say there's a flat fee. She really wanted to make this work for the community. So instead of just having a $150 class fee,
Yeah.
she said, okay, it's $50 unless you don't make that much money. So if we had 3 people in class and we're charging 15 per class and it was 45, we would keep half the 45 and she would take the 22.50 and we would keep 22.50.
Gotcha.
So she really tried to work with us because she knew we were all trying to build our classes.
It was either the 50 or if it was a low number, then she would have the amount with you
She would just do
Okay.
half, yep, if it was
That's
less
just
than the
something
50, it
to
was
think
just
about.
half.
in this situation.
Which
That-
was really extremely helpful to us because lots of times we didn't have enough to pay, like, that we made 50 and gave her 50, and
Right.
so.
Yeah, so I think then it is something we have to table at least
Yes.
until next time to say, get a quote on whether or not there's a lock situation that we can do that would be changeable very easily. And then also thinking about, I guess all of us have been thinking about,
Yes.
should we think about a new policy that has fees for a class?
Right.
I mean, when I was on the dancing and teaching way back, I used to give the place that I was teaching at, like, back, it was $3 a head, but I was giving them like a buck a head off the top to compensate for use of their facilities. And that may be something that, I don't know what you charge now, but either, just a buck a head with a minimum of $20, the minimum fee, and then a buck a head. That will offset some of that cost, but.
Right, and every place does it differently that I've taught in the
Right.
past, they all, some of them get more per people coming in, some they just pay you and then they get the money, so it really depends on
Okay.
how you want to work that out.
Okay.
Yeah, I think especially in those situations like I know when I was helping Michelle figure out some of that stuff was, we don't want to be that money coffer for people coming in for the classes, because they're not town sponsored things, it's just somebody using the space. So having something clear in place saying, maybe this is it's $30 per class, or if there's with coming up with that language is gonna be really important going forward.
Right.
And the other thing, Bruce, you can do with these locks is each person that has access, has the code, will have their own code.
Right.
And you can
Right,
monitor it to see who's in, who's out,
yep,
type thing.
Because if you know that there's a code here that you're supposed to only come here on Wednesdays, and for whatever reason that code's being used on a Monday or a
it
Sunday
can
night,
be cleared out.
you can clear it
You
out
shut
and
that
talk
code
it
off.
off.
Exactly, shut the
They're
kid
done.
off, they can't come in on another time.
Yeah. But
And that may not be a bad idea.
Can Justin or Mark send me a link,
I'll
a link to one of
I'll do
those?
some before next session. I'll
Okay.
get some stuff for you.
I've
Perfect.
used these lockboxes before for Airbnbs, and it is
Yeah.
such a
Yeah.
clear, easy way to pass keys from one person to another.
Yeah. But I think in this, I mean, we use those a lot, and problem is people don't put keys back. Somebody's in doing work in the building, they forget to put the key back. When they leave, you have no idea, but with the passcode
Yes,
on the door, I
you have
think
to do a passcode,
everybody has their own code.
exactly.
And you can also make it so it automatically locks after a few seconds after putting the code in.
And then you don't
There's
even-
options that do
You
that.
don't even have to worry about a key.
Yeah. So I'll look into that. Who's the person we usually use for locksmith? Does it matter, or just in case we need to get a quote from?
What was it, the lock and glass place in
Royal.
Royals.
Royals before.
Okay, fine.
Did I hear that you used to teach dancing too?
Yeah,
Oh, what type of dancing?
line dancing,
Oh, really?
ballroom dancing,
What was that?
and ballroom dancing.
Ballroom. Oh,
yeah.
that's great.
Sure.
How long ago?
Sure.
I quit like 15 years ago.
Oh,
I
okay.
blew out both knees,
Oh,
Oh,
I'm
had
sorry.
to quit drinking.
No, you had to quit dancing.
Oh, they go hand in hand.
So if we table this to December 4th, does that put you, is that okay with you for
Oh, sure,
advertising and
yeah,
stuff?
because I wasn't planning on till January anyway. so-
Okay, so it'll still give you a month.
Okay.
Good.
Cool.
thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
I don't know if you have any other questions.
Okay.
Okay. Well, you guys
Thanks
have
for
my
stopping
contact
in.
information.
Yes, I do.
Thank you so much, everyone. I really
Yeah.
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thanks for stopping in.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Juan, for wanting to keep the classes in town.
Oh, thank you so
Yeah.
much, yeah. I would,
Yeah.
that's ideally, I would love to go to that, if it all works out.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, I've never met such a nice group of people, just coming here to Wallingford, I'm just like, oh my gosh, every single person that walks into that studio is just, they're such nice people. So I just get such a warm feeling like coming in there, so I would love to keep it here.
Okay,
Good.
well, thank you.
All right, thank you,
Thanks.
thank you so much.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you,
Bye,
thank you.
Susan.
Bye-bye.
David, you're up.
I'm up. Well, thank you for taking time with us tonight, appreciate it. I got some handouts here for you, if you would like them. Just gonna read that one. I wish I could be bringing good news to you, but as this has been right from the start, things have not progressed in a very favorable manner. The last time I was here, we were still talking about new truck, and you had asked if we would borrow money, and I was sure that that was the way we were going. We knew right from the start. Well, after we were denied FEMA's money in September, I made a call to the fire truck company and spoke with them and wanted to let them know that we were ready to go with them. And the truck had gone up a little bit more already. And he informed us that the truck that we were looking at would not be here. The cabin chassis would not be delivered to them before July or August of 2025. And then they would be into 2026 before they would deliver it. And would not lock a price because the cabin chassis and stuff, they have no control over those prices, and they've been going up 5% a year. So we started looking at borrowing money, and the rates are not favorable, and the amount we were going to have to borrow at this current time well, made us realize that we cannot afford a new truck. We can't ask our taxpayers. We have 248 tax bills in our fire district, so we're pretty small. This year's budget was at $44,000 for the year. And we have a high percentage of delinquent taxes, even at that rate. And it looked like we were gonna be like a lot of money per year just to make a truck payment. A new truck is what would be the best solution, but I don't think it's attainable, and I mean, with, you guys face it all the time, I know, with your budget's going crazy and trying to keep them under control. I just think in today's environment that we are to a point where we think we need to give up on a new one. So I'm here to ask if that money is attached to a new truck only, and we're gonna lose it all, or if you'd be willing to give us some or keep us with that money. We are actively looking at secondhand ones. They range anywhere from 25 to 30,000 base price, not knowing what we're gonna have to put into them, all the way to 150, 60, 70,000. At what we've looked at, the problem with secondhand trucks is, yeah, we're not gonna get what we want, and seeing what's wrong with them, it's difficult. But, I mean, we have to do something, because our current truck that we have is just, it's a headache. It's problems coming down the road. Our two trucks, one of them's 44 years old and the other one's 37 years old. They were both bought new. And we need to do something. We will do something. Even if you don't grant us any money, we will do something for a truck. I know when I was here earlier, Bruce, you did mention something about turnout gear to us, and yeah, now we've rolled another year and a half, 2 years. We've picked up a couple of new members that need gear, and we've got some more gear aging out. I think I've kind of explained it there, just to give you some options, and then air packs. We've always operated on hand-me-down air packs, second-hand air packs, and kept going with them. Well, we just spent a sizable amount of money. You said, what, maybe 13 for it?
Yeah, we spent $1,300 just maintaining our current set of air packs, and just to be informed just as recent as this week that, hey, your packs are going to not be serviceable, maintained, no parts, no service, anything provided, within a year, and you need to start considering now you're going to have to replace your packs. You're at the end. This Scott is determined they're not making enough money on air packs. They're only, they want to increase their sales. They're cutting off these fantastic packs that have been in service, throughout the entire state of multiple departments, and been a great, economical pack for a long time. They want to make their money, so they've kind of changed the game for us. And the person telling us, he's like, if you guys had called us a week ago, I would have no problem selling you the bottles, and no problem. But he's like, now knowing this, he's like, I cannot with good conscience sell you guys, the upgraded, and perform maintenance, on your air bottles and your air packs. Going forward, you need to consider,
Yeah, unfortunately, they didn't know that 6 months ago when we put the money into tuning these up so that they're still working. Yeah, it's that quick. And so I just give you that information as where we're at with options of other things that we would like to do. And if you're on board with financing anything or keeping us at the rate, I know you'll probably want to discuss it, and which is fine. I just wanted to bring you up to date to where we're at.
Yeah, so we'd like to officially request, to modify the original proposal that was included the wording for a new vehicle, and drop back to maybe just equipment or used apparatus, whatever the wording needs to be. So I think that's where we're wanting to go, and if that is an option for us.
I had a question about the used used engine is a used fire truck.
Yes.
So, how old would a used truck that you're looking to purchase be?
Well, they vary, but like us, most everybody runs them a long time. So this particular, one of these particular trucks is actually 32 years old. And that's why the low price. So if I can explain it, our current trucks are gasoline engine trucks, old. So this is like a 5-year improvement as far as year of age, but it's a big improvement because it's a jump to a diesel engine with air brakes rather than gas engine with hydraulic brakes. Much easier, better engines that last a lot longer in the environment.
Right.
So again, it wasn't what we wanted to do, but I mean, it's a starting point.
Do you have a guesstimate how long a truck like that could be? Because you're saying that the engines you have now, you have one that's
44 and one that's 36.
44 and 36,
37,
and
yeah.
they're becoming more headaches than they are
Exactly, that's
anything
why,
else. So if you buy this 32
Yep, it's-
year one, how long do you think it
that's
would go
right.
for?
I would hope that it would go a minimum of 15 years.
It's a commercial chassis, it's heavy-duty chassis, you know, which was kind of upgraded. I mean, the original was, but for that time, you know, technology has changed considerably from
Yes.
our late 70s, early 80s, as it relates to compared to a heavy-duty chassis truck made, you know, early, mid-90s. So just the safety features and the bigger truck and, you know.
Where would it
just
be
the
coming
improved-
out of?
Well, actually,
Where would it
this,
be coming out of? I mean, that makes a difference if it's coming out of South
Came out of New
Carolina.
Hampshire, came out of New Hampshire, and it's, right now, it's actually a rental truck for a manufacturing company. The current department that's utilizing it is having a new truck built by this manufacturer. So the manufacturer has enough confidence in this vehicle to put his name on it as a loaner, as a rental, and it's, you know, frontline service right now for this department. And once they receive their truck, which should be very soon. But that has also benefited us because it's gone through the pump testing. It's been well maintained. He was able to provide the history that, you know, this department, you know, they didn't apparently come from a low salt area, you know, and
Yeah,
so
well,
we've got, been able to
that
get
was
some of
my
the back
question,
history.
basically.
So. But David looked at it closer than I did, so he can speak further to the.
and we're still, we want to go back with, we've got a couple mechanics that are going to go with us to look over some stuff that work on trucks all the time, because that is a tough question. There's newer secondhand ones. I mean, they're getting into like the early 2000s now that people are replacing. The other thing about this truck is that it's pre-death, so you don't have to have that. So there's a lot of things about that time frame that are actually cheaper to run.
Everything's manual in the truck, so low cost of
Yeah.
maintenance, but it's reliable, very commonly used, you know, it's a Ford chassis. So, but like I said, David's going back with some
Yeah.
skilled people to provide a lot of details already that are just based on his conversation with him, very, you know, saying it's good truck, good transmission, good engine, you know,
But
you know,
it's
for
all-
reliability. But it's
I mean-
91.
Yeah, it's not a lot of miles, just like most fire trucks, they don't get a lot of miles on them, and, yeah, but it's,
And our call volume, you know, we're really not, for David's time limit, 15 years, when you look at the amount that we're called out in our, kind of our service area and who we service, you know, and what we put on the trucks, it's,
we rely heavily on mutual aid. And this area is, I mean, Wallingford has a super fire department, and Shrewsbury and Mount Holly both, right close by to us, are really good, have a lot of stuff, and are always willing to help. I mean, we will help them when called, but they have helped us stay in business, you would say, to stay in a controllable budget for a long time. So that's,
and having that second fire district over there, you know, that's minutes, and 1 minute's matter in a fire, you know, the time it takes to come out of Wallingford to Sugar Hill or whatever, compared to kind of at the bottom of Sugar Hill, you know, so we like to provide value, we like to continue to provide value for our community.
So would this bring you to 3 trucks, or you just completely retire the old?
we will probably retire
Okay, because you don't wanna rely on that and have to maintain that.
Right.
I know, we don't
It's
want
another truck to insure, another truck to maintain, and it doesn't get rid of the maintenance headache. I mean, it's
Right.
cost us some money, and we know there's more coming down the road. And it's actually in an era, this particular truck it's newer than the other one, but it's in an era where emissions first started to come on board.
And they didn't know what they were doing.
And new brakes and stuff like that, and they didn't pan out well.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I think we've been fortunate to get this long with it, and it's just, all of a sudden, things are gonna get hard to get and expensive, and where this truck, yes, it's old, but it's more modern, more available stuff.
Yeah, we have no reason to go past the 2 trucks, because the more trucks we add, the more seats going to a scene requires us to then add more air packs, and as you, I don't know what was provided, but that increases more that we have to maintain, so our goal is definitely to stay with two reliable trucks.
Just FYI, Orwell is selling one of their trucks sitting on the side of the road. I don't know if you
I've
looked
seen
at
it.
it or not.
My
I've
wife
driven
went-
by it like 10 times, I'm like,
I've actually gone and looked at it, because my
Oh.
boy lives in Benson,
Yeah.
and he told us about it, so it's an option, but not a great one. And
Gotcha.
he just went and looked at one in Pollitt, and he was not very well satisfied with that one either.
Okay.
But, I mean, there are options, yeah,
Yeah.
we're actually, we are looking at everything. We've looked at one in Granville, he's had one, and then we're looking at this one in Scotty, and online, there's just all over everywhere, you call and can get information, and, yeah. So, but no, thank you, yeah.
Yeah, and what we bumped into, I mean, the same thing that David experienced, was that a lot of these guys put in their orders years ago, got in before the massive price increase, and then they're like, hey, what's this cost me now? And they're seeing a 100% increase in price, and they're like, if I had waited just 6 months, we wouldn't be able to obtain this. And now I'm hearing, the guys that didn't make it, or maybe they've exhausted the used market, they're just repowering their units and being like, it's not, we can't afford new, we don't want to buy used and not know what we got, we're just going to put a new engine in this one and keep going. So we're kind of hearing that and seeing that now as I have my discussion with this.
Which is also a option that we're looking at, is repowering the other one, like taking the truck out from under it and buying a new truck or a newer truck. So that's an option, it wouldn't give us more water, but it's an option.
And it would also be downtime between when you
Yeah.
actually
Exactly.
remove the actual tank apart, and then
Yeah.
Yeah.
that would be, versus getting one, being able to retire and get everything else you need off the
Right.
old one, and then, okay.
But this is still kicking the can down the road. I mean,
Right.
like, it's not gonna be a 40-year truck, it's gonna be the 20, 15, 20,
Yeah.
and then we'll be looking at it again, but that's okay, it gets us down the road. And so, I guess we're here not asking you for an answer tonight, because you have to think about this, I'm sure, but we're wondering if we were locked into a new truck only by this money, so.
Oh, okay.
I don't find what you've done here at all objectionable, Dave.
It's pretty
this
expensive.
is everything that's needed.
It's stuff you need.
Yeah, we've kind of.
I guess
borrowed
my only thought would be was whether we as a board should just make the decision, or if we should give the ARPA committee the courtesy of giving us an opinion on this again or not.
I think because it was in our hands, because it was given over to us, because that was the big thing. They
That's
give
right.
us over all the applications, and then we made the decision. I think now it's in our hands, and I think it would be make more work for them if they have to then reread this,
Yeah,
especially if we have a feeling, which I feel like we're feeling like this is totally reasonable to do.
Yeah.
and if the rest of the board feels comfortable with it,
I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Yes. This seems to be the best option, considering some unfortunate circumstances and having to realistically deal with what we have. I think, it's not 40 years, it's 15, but still it keeps things going. And I do appreciate all the effort it's taken for you to put this together. Thank you.
I mean, if you look at it, you're gonna put 25,000 into that truck, get you 15 more years out of a truck,
Yeah,
and you put 50, and you buy another one for $25,000, you got $50,000 into 30 years of a truck. I mean, that's not really a bad way to go.
Plus you have all the
That's-
turnout gears for safety and.
Yeah, the fact that you're
That's-
replacing all this gear is
Yeah.
really huge.
Exactly.
That's the way we're thinking right now,
Yeah.
but it still is, to me, there's always, it's not a new truck. You know,
Oh, yeah.
5 years down the road, you know, when I get there and hit the key, I want it to start.
Right, yeah, oh yeah, no, I agree,
Right.
but,
So.
No.
And you don't
it's-
want to have to baby it through Sugar
Right.
Hill if you feel like you need to get to a fire in
It's
time.
not the best option, but I think it's I really think to be realistic and fair to our taxpayers, it's probably the only. Unless somebody comes up with some miracle somewhere that.
We've talked about fundraising, but we kind of pulled the boot out on 103 wasn't our best interest. And the School Street traffic flows changed, so that wasn't gonna work for a coin drop.
Which reminds me, not to change the subject, but we've had our first accident on our new intersection
No.
really?
Okay.
Really?
Today, yeah,
today.
today.
Yep.
They just finished that.
And I'm not even sure if it's completely finished, but they did just pave it this past week.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's last weekend.
I noticed,
Yeah.
as you go from there, nice paint job, but, what happened?
I don't know, because that's in Mount Holly's area, so we didn't get called.
Oh, they-
Oh,
We may, because we're the closest
Right.
at some point, but they called for 2 wreckers, so apparently both cars were damaged enough, so they had to be towed or so. But I didn't hear of any injuries as they were talking, so.
okay.
Which,
I mean, I've driven to it a few times, and it's actually not bad the way they laid it out,
Yeah,
if you're paying attention.
yes.
Because you have full visibility in both directions,
Yes.
but you still want to be paying attention.
Paying attention.
so, and that reminds me, I'm sorry to just jump in with this one again, but have you been made aware that Mount Holly Rescue has closed their
No.
doors?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
We should probably, if you're gonna do this, get a motion and second, no, a
Okay.
consensus.
So the motion would be on,
Basically,
originally they came about
Repurposing.
repurposing,
The funds
okay,
approved to,
100,000 for a new
Modification to the
truck.
initial ARPA fund request, which was 100% allocation of funds for a new fire truck,
okay.
and to modify that to be an allocation of
Used
funds
fire
for
truck.
new engine and
Other
equipment or gear, or whatever verbiage that needs to be, so it's clear.
Okay. I'm gonna try this. I'm not really sure how it's gonna work out. I make a motion that we approve Wallingford Fire District 2's request to modify the wording of their ARPA fund request that has been approved, that instead of the funds being allocated for a new fire truck, that we allow the funds to be used for the purchase of a used fire truck.
And gear.
And all the
gear.
suggested
And gear.
equipment. Yeah,
And all appropriate gear and equipment needed.
yeah, within the, not to exceed the $100,000 that's already
Not
been
to exceed the
allocated.
$100,000 original value of the ARPA funds.
do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None?
Thank you very much.
You're good.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will update it.
Thank you all for the help with the motion. I think you'll like it.
You got it.
Yeah. Is there we have to release the money, how's that gonna work? Have you decided yet? We have to,
Oh, because we haven't actually moved the money from our coffers to your,
No.
Right,
No.
yeah.
and
So
I
we'll
need
have
to
to
know.
write up an agreement, because it was all tabled before, because we didn't actually know
Right.
what you were
Yeah.
buying and stuff, so we'll write up an agreement,
Yes.
have everybody sign it, and then, what I think we've done mainly in the past is reimburse, but if you wanna do a check in advance, I don't know, that's up
Yeah.
to you.
I mean, I'd be okay with a
I
check
mean,
in
do they,
advance
maybe
as long as we have a line item.
they present invoices, I mean,
Yeah.
maybe we
Well,
can do that, we can present invoices and we can pay directly to the,
I don't think that would be a problem, because like if we ordered packs or turnout gear,
Right.
they would let us know, and it would be a while out before we'd
Right.
get here, and they would present us with a bill, so I don't have any problem with that, so.
Yeah, because all those quotes were, prices, they were good for within 15 days. And it's like
Okay.
related to gear and stuff. We have like a 15-day window.
I
before the
mean, you would,
billing piece
we
works.
could put, so they meet the first and third Monday of the month, and so they do pay orders at the beginning of the meeting, so if you gave us invoices, they could just approve the invoices and we could pay them the very next day.
That works perfect.
Outstanding.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
efforts.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Fire department. So I guess we're on to the request for proposed zoning review by VLCT.
I got an email from the small business. I sent him an email, asked him if he was coming, and he sent me an email. He said, thanks for writing to me, I am in leave, sick.
Okay.
Okay.
So he's not attending.
He's not
Okay.
attending, okay.
I've never heard that expression before.
So we originally had tabled this. Their estimate was between $1,500
Yes.
and $2,000. Review. People's feelings? I will say that it wasn't budgeted, so. What are your concerns, Erica, about why you want them to do this?
I think, speaking for the planning commission, to be perfectly honest, it has been reviewed by the town lawyer, and suggestions have been put in. As you've noted, there's a lot of reds, greens, crossouts, and everything else, so you can see it. We have added the current flood hazard mitigation as Appendix B. The formatting is not finished because it was a PDF file and I have to reformat it, but no wording has changed and won't be changed. We've also had it reviewed by the Rutland Regional Planning Commission, and there were a few suggestions, especially dealing with the new Homes Act, that are required. We received comments from a resident asking about certain things, and also one thing we missed was the inclusion of no paramilitia training facilities allowed. That went into law in Vermont. We didn't have it in there. It's in there with it specified as to what, which statute it follows. And the only reason why to run it by the VCLT is because every time we've taken it to public hearing, that's always been a question: have you run it by the VCLT? So it's really to answer, shall we say, the public inquiry. But as I said, we've run it by the lawyer, we've run it by the Rutland Regional Planning Commission. In fact, it's run by them twice. I am not really pushing for the BCLT unless the board feels it's necessary. We'd like to move it on if we could. The VCLT, as far as I can tell, would probably maybe find a few things that we referenced that maybe have changed. But as I have said before, things change so quickly, like the paralegal. We didn't have it in there, and it was voted into law as of the 1st of July. Yeah. So it's in there now. Something could be legalized, signed by the governor tomorrow, and no, it won't be in there. How often can you keep up with it is the big question. And frankly, that's not just the question from the planning commission here as it is from almost all the towns. Everyone's having the same problems. Things are changing rapidly. So it's really up to the board if you think you've all got copies. If you think it has enough, then we'd like to take it to public hearing. Or we'd like to do both, whatever the board wishes.
So you saying like take it to public hearing and then from whatever comments come out of there, then deliver that theoretically to VLCT as
If
for
they're
a
ma-
review
yeah,
process?
If they're major. Because one of the things that I've been told is if they're minor changes, we still can change them while the VCLT is reviewing it.
Okay,
So it's not as if everything has to stand static. Even during the 45-day public hearing timeframe, if there's a change, it can be done as long as it's noted. And it's not a major change.
Right.
So if something comes out of Montpelier that has to be in there, yeah, that would be a major change, but there's a good reason for it. You know, it's, everything seems to be, shall we say, somewhat in flux with what's going on. Short-term rentals, for example. The governor vetoed it last time around, but might not veto it this time around. We've tried to address it a little bit, as much as we can, because it may or may not be a problem. I don't know. We don't know, nobody knows. I mean, Airbnbs were mushrooming all over the place, and now it seems like they're coming down. And of course, as you are probably aware, the state's trying to legislate that somehow. And we've looked at some of the other towns and how they're doing it, and they're trying to address it. Nobody's happy on that situation. But we do the best we can. If the state decides to finally make up its mind as to what to do, then we'll have to follow that. But statute supersedes regulations anyway, so, you know, as long as they're not in conflict. Same thing with the cannabis. We haven't changed that wording at all. The current zoning regs do not allow a cannabis dispensary. Hasn't been changed. It's still in there because we wouldn't, 500, it's now within 500 feet of the schoolyard. And just about any place that anybody wants to put it is just about 500 feet within the schoolyard. But the board may change its decision, the cannabis board may change and say, no, you can put it across the street from school. I doubt that, but I'm being extreme and I apologize. But it gets to the point with the zoning regulations that you can only do so much and then change them once they're approved or amend them as necessary. And I think that's pretty much where the planning commission is. We've changed it. We've answered other public, this would be our third public hearing. We changed it to answer and to address other issues that were brought up by the public hearing. We'd like one more bite at that apple and then give it to you all. It makes for pretty good reading this time if you like colors, by the way.
I like the idea of, I still think the idea of bringing it to VLCT as much as it is not budgeted and as much as it's one of those things again that we've been doing a lot in this session. It's just been trying to make sure we're doing the best due diligence we can and making sure that we can back up when we approve something. So it feels like doing it where we give it to the public one more time for a public meeting, putting it out there saying, after this, we are sending this to VLCT and then it's going to the select board for final approval. Just having that clear process in their brains, if that's the way it works. But I feel like doing it before that just sets up more problems that you guys are gonna have to do more work, and then we're just going to be pushing this down the line even more and more. That's my feeling. So I think no matter what, it's the public hearing going forward. I guess the question is whether or not anybody else feels that we need VLCT to look it over afterwards.
I think it's that due diligence that you've mentioned,
Yeah.
that we've gone ahead and been as thorough as we can be, and that when it comes to us, it can't really be questioned because it's really been reviewed.
Right. Right.
And we would have no problem having a public hearing addressing that and then coming back to you with those changes and saying, now, we've addressed the changes. That's, I don't think there'd be any objection from the planning commission on that whatsoever. And that is pretty much the reason for doing it, is the due diligence.
Right.
I think we put it out to a public hearing now.
Yeah.
And any changes that come out of that, if they're warranted, then send it back to leagues of cities and towns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
Don't go to leagues of cities and towns now.
No,
Make
no,
the
no.
changes, then put it out to the public,
No.
then come back and go back to leagues
No,
of cities and towns. It's-
public hearing then.
Yeah,
It should.
if necessary. I wouldn't
Yeah,
make it a mandatory thing,
Right.
because if no changes come, we have enough people in town that are gonna catch anything that's out there anyway, so if nothing is caught and everybody's,
I know, but like Gary Kupfer caught that thing with the industrial zone, and that's been in the old one for
That's right,
7 years,
Yeah.
8 years, so nobody caught that.
right.
Yeah, there are a few things that every time we reread it, we catch a few extra things and we change, but they're minor. That is a major one, obviously.
Yeah.
But again,
and every time you read it, you're gonna find something out,
Yeah.
so
yeah,
maybe it's, like I said, maybe it's time just to warn it, put it out for public hearing. And just see what, because like I said, you're gonna have 100 eyes on it, say, reading it. And if 100 people come back with 100 different ideas, that's great. Or if 100 people come back and say, that's not gonna work, then that's where we look at it and make the changes.
Right.
I can tell you that I've had people ask me personally, and we've gotten letters, but I've had people come in and ask me about certain things. Why did you put it in this way? What's the reasoning behind that? And we've explained it, or I've explained it.
Right.
And they seem to walk away with, oh, well, that now makes perfect sense as to what it is.
Right.
And,
And that may be what it takes at the public hearing to,
and you know, it always is going to be that translation process, because it's not a nice, easy third grade level like reading. Like it's complicated, weird law that is very interpretable. So
Which
It
is one of
makes
the
sense,
reasons
though.
you won't find whereas, therefore, and heretofore.
yes, yeah, exactly. I'm not seeing that in any of the books that I'm reading to my daughter every day. Whereas might be.
So I guess the decision is that we do a public hearing and then we'll look at going to VLCT.
Yeah, I think
if
that's the way.
necessary.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess again, us thinking about what is that rubric of when do we send it to the VLCT and when do we not. But I still think it. I'm on the opinion that I think we still send it to it and then, of course, figure out how we're going to pay for it. But
Well, that's where I'm kind of looking at is, we spent an awful lot of legal funds this year. We spent an awful
Already.
lot of
yeah,
unexpected funds, and that may not be a fund that's needed, I guess, because, I mean, the attorneys have looked at it.
right.
If any major changes come out of it, yes, I could see sending it, but if there are little verbiage changes or
Right.
something to that effect, I really,
The only thing is just it's the VLCT people are those, because they're advising so many different towns throughout the state, they are seeing more maybe than a lawyer might be able to see when they're seeing maybe 2 or 3. That
they've
would be-
seen it already, right? No,
The
they haven't seen it.
VCLT?
Yeah, no, they haven't seen it yet.
Not yet.
We just, I mean, we sent them, we sent them just for an estimate purpose, that they didn't
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
It's
review
just an
it.
estimate.
Okay.
And I don't know how much Gary Kupfer actually reviewed the entire document. He reviewed existing because of the citizen's complaint.
Right.
So he didn't go through like the proposed.
Right.
But I know Ed Bove went through before he left the regional planning,
Yep.
and I can't think of his name, and he's a new person there, but he apparently is the expert on the new acts, especially the Homes Act.
Mhm.
And so as you read it, you'll see where it's S-100 throughout, and even there's a couple of definitions in there that he noted to us, you have to have. It's not a, you can, it's a, you have to.
Right.
And one of the things that the planning commission did was, we matched our proposal against West Rutland. I think I mentioned this before, because West Rutland was just approved in December, and I think Proctor, because Proctor's about the same as we are, and looked at certain portions to see how they're addressing it and how we're addressing it. And on a majority of it, it was pretty much the same, especially West Rutland. We were, I would say, a good 60 to 75%, especially in the definitions, the same. And if it looked like the definition from one of the other towns was a better way of going, then we moved it over to ours. And I have that matrix if anybody wants to see it, with all my scribbles on it. Every time, one of the things was where in the beginning it says whatever the reference was, and I'm sorry, I don't remember. And then it says herefore addressed as the act. So wherever the term "the act" went through, it was actually specified which Vermont act it was, for people to review it. So as much as we could reference to a statute, we did. I'm sure we missed a few, but we tried to do the best that we could without being lawyers ourselves.
So the consensus, I guess, is move ahead with the public hearing.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
We'll decide later on the VLCT review? And decide later on the review?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So today's the 21st. Review permission will hold a public hearing after the holidays?
Hmm.
Go right in the middle.
I mean, we're heading right into budget.
The week where nobody's here.
Yeah.
We could schedule it between Christmas and...
That's what I said, yeah. That'd be good.
That would be the 45 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, be happy to do that.
I don't know if that's gonna go down well.
Yeah.
Right. Also, we'll be right in the thick of budget, so.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. So, thank you very much.
Thanks, Erica.
You'll do that not on a select board meeting night, right? It'll be its own,
That'll
It
be
would
them
be-
it'll be
morning
its own
up.
hearing night or whatever, yeah.
Right.
Excuse me, it will be a planning commission night.
Okay. All right.
And don't forget, after the select board receives it, you hold your own.
Oh, I know, we have another one following.
You know.
Yep.
So we'll have 2 public hearings anyway. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Erica.
Have a happy Turkey Day.
Yes, you too.
Night, Erica.
Good night.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, let's see, we're on to select board comments and concerns.
So the only, again, I seem to have a lot of concerns. No, this is, Julie called me last week. Look, they're having problems with spam calls. They have to answer the phone. They cannot not answer the phone. So she wanted to know if there was a way to block them. There's spam blockers, but you have to enter each individual phone number into it to block the number. They're like $80. The only other way to do it is a phone system.
Oh.
So Bruce and I talked a little bit. I'm going to reach out to Bob Ferguson. He's, well, unless there's somebody else too, but his son lives here in town. But I'm going to see if he can give us an estimate on putting a phone system here in Town Hall. So my thought is no matter what number you call, it'll ring in to a switchboard, say, and you'll be prompt to punch a number to reach that person, whoever that is, regardless. And then no matter what line they call in on, you can automatically go to anybody here. You'll have 4 or 5 lines, so not like if one person's on it, it won't ring busy. It'll just go to the next number and so forth. So you'll have 4 or 5 lines to ring in on, but it's the only way to stop it. And maybe it's time to upgrade our phone system, do a real phone system.
Okay.
Do you know they have, because like I know like on my phone I get that potential spam, like
Yes.
Verizon, but is there any way for landlines?
You have to, there's either the phone system itself and prompt
Right.
You can limit it in that way, or you can get a box that plugs into your phone, but every time you get one, you say, remember this number for spam and block it.
From that number again.
If they call back from that number, you're great.
No, they're not gonna.
Exactly.
No, they use a new
They're gonna
number.
ghost another
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Typically, those have a limited number of,
Oh, I'm sure it probably, it's probably got like,
Yeah.
it's
I think
probably
when I was looking
like
at it, like 200 you could put into it.
that's not
And
enough.
it's like,
That's not even,
no.
A
And
dent?
it's manually enter every number. I'm like,
boy,
Julie's not gonna like that.
no,
No.
No.
So,
But I think with an auto attendant, they call them, you know, but you have to, you can auto attendant VoIP lines, but you cannot auto attendant POTS lines without putting a whole phone system in for the POT. For individual lines, you can't, you have to put a phone system in to do an auto attendant.
Okay.
VoIP, you can do it through your computer, but these lines are not tied through the internet. They're tied.
Right.
VTEL generates a dial tone off their their node outside. So that's where the numbers come from. So,
Yeah.
but
so I've asked Mark to just see about getting an estimate, and
okay.
something for us to consider.
Right.
yeah, if the funds are, you know, I don't know, I have no idea what.
Well, I wonder also just in my terrible delinquents of doing the cybersecurity, I feel like he had something about that with phone systems when he originally gave us that quote, Sandy.
I think you did.
So, I mean, I can also try to look through that too.
Okay, yeah.
And also get the RFP
Yeah.
out there for that, because that would be, if we could drum it into that, that might be something that we then use ARPA funds for, to be able to do this.
Yes.
Versus waiting for a budgetary
I mean,
system.
there is, you can convert your phone numbers over to VoIP or internet
Right.
phones, which is, you just port the lines over, which is not a big deal. And do it that way, then then it all runs through your firewall, all runs through your phone, through your computer
Right.
network. You can do it that way, or you stay with the way you are and just literally put in a phone switch, you know, with all the lines tied to it.
Right.
You know, I mean, a small system is,
Yeah.
you can get 25 lines, you know, and they're not that much for the small systems. But
Right.
a couple $1,000, but,
So, yeah, it's,
but still, I mean, it's not that much compared to, you know, a couple hundred lines.
right, right.
But I'll reach out, like I said, the only one in that area that I know of, and if somebody else does phone systems, is Bob Ferguson, his son. So I'll reach out, I'll pick up his phone number tomorrow and reach out to him and see if he can swing by and give us
This
an
would be
estimate.
something like VTEL would have a system available.
For business, or like basically you're going to like a business like a Comcast business or something like that, but they're,
Well, you've got to bring in their,
you gotta bring in their internet to be able to do it,
Their-
yeah,
Yeah.
So another business, the Sosa Building and Energy weatherized the basement last weekend. Ken Welch and I did a walkthrough this past week, and we've given them a punch list to correct a few things. I think that's about it. We're on the budgets at the next meeting. Yay.
I hear some people were screaming at our request or my suggestion to have the budgets done and into us by the first meeting. I hear some people didn't like that idea too much.
One particular individual.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Anything else with anybody?
Yeah, were you gonna talk about, DRB's request to seek attorney's advice?
Oh, yes. Yeah, the DRB has requested whether they could talk to the town attorney on should I say decision, strategy? I guess a strategy.
Maybe a permit condition?
Yeah, a
Yeah.
permit
Okay.
condition on
Yes.
and basically they want to know whether or not what they're thinking of doing would be legal or not.
Right.
An applicant wants, it can't, they don't know whether a condition would
Interest.
run with a property or with the applicant. 'Cause
Yes.
a neighbor wants to know whether, the neighbor wouldn't object if the condition ended with the applicant, but if the applicant sells the property and somebody new, they're not sure but they would want. It's like a whole shared driveway thing. They don't mind
Okay.
the business operating
Right.
with the existing people there,
But they don't necessarily want to do it with,
with people they don't know and,
I think that makes sense.
yeah.
But under common law, I guess typically, when they put a condition on, it stays with the property, so
Yes.
they're looking for the town attorney to help them create wording that would not allow that condition.
Yeah.
It would end with the initial person. So,
And it's the person that's worried about the other person, they own that property and it's a right of way, basically, to getting into it. I guess not to get into too much details, I guess. we
yeah,
can't
it's a
talk-
shared. It's a
Because I
shared,
guess I would be interested in if it's completely shared, split down the middle, then that's something, but if it's that one person, it's kind of on them to make the conditions, right? If the person who's worried about if this property or this business was sold, I don't know if I'd allow them to use that space. If it's their space to control that, then that's on them to do versus us on the town to do, right? If I'm understanding the logic of that.
I don't have an answer to that, I don't know. My feeling is we ought to let them talk to the town attorney.
Oh, yeah, I mean, if we're just having this, even just the kind of conceptual idea of it, if we're having a little bit of a tough time, it makes more sense to
Yeah,
shuck it off.
so consensus is
Yes.
yes. Lucy can talk to the town attorney.
Yep.
Anything else that I've forgotten?
That's it.
That's it?
Sure, as soon as you adjourn, we'll remember. We're not gonna do,
We'll
we're not,
adjourn.
we're not, maybe you can just answer the email from Joyce.
Yes,
We don't need to bring that up.
right.
Motion to adjourn from
I'll
someone?
make a motion.
Yes.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.